What is going on, everybody? It is your man R0B back at it again with another New York Giants video. And in today's video, going to cover some news that just came out that I saw earlier today, which indeed is talking about two of the finalists that the Giants are looking at. Hopefully, they are adding a third one in there, but going to talk about the two names that they dropped that they are considering as their finalists for their candidates for the open GM position. The first one being obviously the assistant general manager Joe Schoen and also Ryan Poles from Kansas City. Now, both of those individuals, believe it or not, I believe, had their second interviews today with the New York Football Giants. Very, very excited. You guys know that I love Joe Schoen. I'm very, very much more prone for him, just for the simple fact that I feel like he would be better equipped to handle this team in the state that they're in now, with the cap situation that we're in, with having the top picks that we do. I mean, we have 5 picks, I believe, within the first, 80 picks of the draft, if I'm not mistaken. So you need to be able to hit on these. Also, he's not afraid to make moves to free up cap space. You saw them trade and get rid of Stephon Gilmore and other players as well to free up the cap space, but you also saw him make trades like bringing in Stephon Diggs. So I definitely like Joe Schoen a little bit more, when it comes down to taking the reins of this position here with the general manager position. With Ryan Poles, listen, the guy is definitely a good candidate. He's been through Scott Pioli, John Dorsey. He's worked closely with Andy Reid. He's been there with Kansas City for a long, substantial amount of time and has had a hand with a lot of top draft picks that the Kansas City Chiefs have brought in. So some of the picks that you can go with since about 2009, since he's been there: Tyson Jackson out of LSU, Eric Berry, we all know him. John Baldwin was kind of like an average player for them. Dontari Poe was one of the top defensive tackles in the league. Eric Fisher, D. Ford, Marcus Peters. Obviously, we all know Patrick Mahomes and Clyde Edwards. So that's not even including other draft picks that they've had, like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Nicole Hardman, stuff like those players right there. So he's definitely done an amazing job. Also bringing in free agents, guys like Orlando Brown, Joe Thuney, bringing in those guys. Anthony Hitchens, which was a cornerstone piece. Last year, I believe they brought in Kyle Fuller, which helped them, not last year, but the year before, winning the Super Bowl. So they definitely he's made some good moves when it comes down to having a hand with drafting players, bringing guys in, for sure. And he's also a very, very good candidate. Also, I'm hoping that they add Adam Peters from San Francisco to that list. When you look at what San Francisco's done and some of the players that they brought in, Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner, Jaquez Tart, Deebo Samuel. I mean, the list, George Kittle. I mean, the list goes on and on here with a lot of the good draft picks that they were able to bring in. Now, they have brought in some free agents, not much, but I mean, they have brought in some. But for the most part, that team is based upon, drafting players. So, I'm really hoping that they do add Adam Peters to that. But what I will say is I did find out today also that they are looking, and that Joe Schoen does have an interview set up. If he didn't, I believe it's either set up for this coming up Sunday or it was just this past Sunday, where he met with the Chicago Bears. Now, he grew up, he said he started liking football around when he was like 3 or 4 years old. He watched the Bears win when Mike Ditka was the coach, then Notre Dame won, and he just naturally, gravitated to football. And so it would be probably willing for him that he would go to Chicago because there's a GM position open with the Bears, a team that started him and inspired him to love football. And I would say that would not be ruling out the fact that he could potentially go there. If you're the New York Giants, you need to start striking early when it comes to these GM spots. And you need to start doing that fast so that you can bring in your new head coach. You need to start putting your your staff together. You need to start putting in your new scouting. There were reports today from Ian Rappaport that I saw that they feel that the whole scouting department needs to be redone. You need a whole new scouting department. You need you're going to eventually, you're going to have to get a new coaching staff. You have a lot to do. The Super Bowl is February 13th. Free agency is about a month or a little bit over a month from that point. And then you have the draft. You still at that point need to hire your GM, need to hire your head coach, need to hire your coaching staff, your scouting team. You need to start prepping for the draft, and you need to evaluate this team, evaluate free agents, players that you may be able to cut, players that you may be able to try to bring in, ways that you could try to restructure contracts, who you're going to go after. Now, I am going to be making a video, and this is probably going to come out at some point in time, I believe tomorrow, where I will talk with you guys about bringing in Deshaun Watson, bringing in Russell Wilson. And so I'm going to have a video that's going to be going up for you guys with that, kind of breaking that down. It would actually be a lot cheaper to bring in Russell Wilson, who the majority of the fan base that I do talk to would like to see if they had to compare between Deshaun and Russell Wilson. They're leaning towards Russell Wilson. Would be a lot cheaper than you actually think it would be. And I'm going to break that down in my next video. But for the most part, they need to get on this. They need to get on this fast. I mean, right now it's January 18th, so the Super Bowl is less than a month away. So you have to get this in place. Then that GM is going to have to go ahead and interview people for the head coaching position. Especially, let's just say Joe Shane takes the job and he wants Brian Daboll to be his head coach for his football team. He can't hire that man until after they're eliminated from the playoffs. So they, at this particular point in time, they need to get the ball going. They need to get on it because they have to go ahead and get these guys in place so they can start creating that coaching staff, redo the scouting team if that's what they need to do, and start evaluating the roster, finding out where you need to make some cuts, who you need to trade, who you need to restructure, look at the free agency possibilities, see who you could potentially bring in, and then go ahead and figure out where you're going to be as far as the draft. I'll also have a video coming out with some possible free agents that I think that the Giants should look at. I did make a video prior which shows how the Giants can free up about $63.4 million. 20 of it you can allocate towards the draft potentially. About another 25 to maybe 30 million you could allocate towards free agency. And the rest of it you hang tight on it in case you need it for signing a player, something like that, or re-signing a player throughout the course of the season. So I have that video up. Be sure to go and check that out. But they definitely need to get on the high horse here. I'm leaning more towards Joe Shane. Like I said, I think that Joe Shane is more equipped to take on this job and handle some of the situations because he dealt with it in Buffalo when he went there. They had very, very low cap situation. They had some draft capital, but they had a lot of older players that were holding up a lot of cap space. And they were able to get that cleared up, and look at that team now. They are in the playoffs. They're dominant. They had a great offensive showing against Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick ain't no scrub when it comes to defense. So, they put up 47 points in that game. They mean business. And I think Brian Daboll really showed what he was capable of as far as his play calling, things that he was doing. You could say the same thing about Kellen Moore. I think he tried to do a little bit too much. But a lot of the players showed out today, this past weekend. You had the Buffalo Bills, Brian Daboll, they really showed out in Buffalo. It really showed off Joe Shane and Daboll based upon the team that they were able to put together. That Joe Shane was the assistant GM for, and Daboll being able to be that offensive coordinator and make those plays for those scoring drives. You could say the same thing about the San Francisco 49ers and the team that Adam Peters helped put together with those young guys like Deebo Samuel, Fred Warner, DJ Jones, Arik Armstead, and the list goes on with those guys that were able to come in, step up, and be immediate contributors and really help win that football game. You can make the same argument for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, last night, that game, I feel like Kellen Moore is trying to do a little bit too much. You have a stout offense, and you have a $140 million quarterback, a $100 million wide receiver, and $90 million running back, and you only managed to put up 16 points in a stadium that you average about 30 points a game. So he may have done particularly too much. I know that he's interviewed with the Denver Broncos, and he has an interview coming up with the Miami Dolphins, and I believe and the Minnesota Vikings. So he's got interviews lined up for those guys, for those teams there. But I definitely think that, you know, we need to get the ball rolling. We need to go ahead and bring these guys in so that we can get this ball rolling, because the time is short. Once that Super Bowl hits, you only have about a month to go, and then at that point, it's grind time. So let me know what you guys think, you know, in the comment section. How do you guys feel about, you know, the finalists there with Ryan Poles and with Joe Schoen? Are you liking those two guys? Do you feel like Adam Peters needs to be added into that list? And, you know, let me know, do you feel like they're making good time with this? Do you feel like maybe they need to rush it a little bit more and speed up that process and really try to get this guy in place? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. We are currently at 86 subscribers on the YouTube channel, guys. If we get to 100 subscribers, I will be giving away a $15 gift card of your choice. So we'll be doing that giveaway as well. We're at 86 right now. We need 100, so we are 14 away. So if you guys can make that happen, I would greatly appreciate it. And the way that you make that happen is share the video, like it, subscribe. I greatly appreciate all the love and support. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.